This is the Modern Architect radio show and podcast. The Modern Architect features one-on-one interviews with renowned and cutting-edge architects, influencers, and sustainability leaders. Our show informs and illuminates the transformation that architecture brings to our cities, communities, and lives. And now, introducing the host of The Modern Architect, Tom Dioro.
For our guest today, we're really honored, and I'm super excited to welcome James Bacchi. James is a prominent art consultant, curator, and collaborator who has and continues to enjoy conducting art business in New York, San Francisco, and Palm Springs since 1986. Embracing the changes of how to conduct business brought on by the pandemic, James felt the need to reinvent. Drawing from many facets of his professional career, he launched James Bacchi Contemporary, a boutique art consultancy and by appointment only Collectors Art Salon in Palm Springs, California, on September 1st, 2021. James's contemporary works focus on representing and securing sourcing contemporary art worldwide for presentation and placement with private collections, corporations, and museums. For more information, feel free to visit the website of jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Again, that's jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Today's episode is made possible by Swatchbox, the leading sample platform for architects and designers. Swatchbox brings thousands of product samples from the world's leading manufacturers into one platform. Browse materials for inspiration, create custom collections, then request your samples for free with automatic next day or second day shipping. Get started at swatchbox.com. Again, James, thank you for being on the show. Really happy, really thrilled to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to be here. I'm excited to talk to you.
Likewise. A quote or a prayer or a mantra that we talked about before we came on the show the other day. Love to hear what you got.
I have two that I kind of, I would say, are mantras. The first is something a friend and colleague said to me a very long time ago, and it just stuck. And that is, if it doesn't work, change it. And I would say, as far as a quote goes, I look to architect Buckminster Fuller. And that quote is, integrity is the essence of everything successful. And I feel like integrity is just everything. You know, without it, there is no success.
Why is that? For you in particular?
For me in particular, I mean, the things I really and truly value in people I do business with is, one, consistency, and that you do what you say you're going to do. And for me, that's what integrity is.
That's not taught in a lot of the higher education. Why is that it's such a difficult way of being to accomplish for even, I would think, even yourself, because you have to go through a lot of challenges to make sure you meet what you said you're going to do when you said you were going to do it.
Yeah. And I guess, you know, the only thing that's I find challenging in business is when, you know, things get out of your control as a result of other people, you know, not doing what they say they're going to do. But yeah, integrity is everything.
Yeah. How do you handle that challenge where you know there's 3 or 4 sources in addition to yourself that you somewhat relied on, to lack of another phrase, that isn't able to, and then you have to face, you know, your colleagues, contemporaries, clients, or significant others to say, hey, you know what, we're not able to come through on this because of this, and still do it with grace and some dignity?
That's a really good question. Unless it's like a brand new client, I think my clients really know my reputation and know that I always do everything humanly possible to make something happen that I say is going to happen. So they give me a little bit of leeway there. For new clients who don't know me, it's just a matter of, explaining that it's out of my control.
Well, obviously you're doing everything humanly possible. Well, the essence of James. I don't know if you've ever thought of this, and if it's a little too heavy, let me know. But where you are now, how far back can you go to say, you know what, I really kind of foresaw where I am now, even in my youth? Is there a particular moment or moments or time or place that you can remember that sort of poignant moment, if it exists with you?
In my youth, I would say I've never saw myself where I am now.
Okay.
I always had aspirations to be a writer, which I have done, but that's not what I, consider what I do as what I do. There was a time where I wanted to be a car designer. I just love the design of cars. Good design. I don't know how much of that I would say is out there right now, but I grew up in the 60s, and I just thought car design in the 60s was phenomenal.
Do you remember a specific car or a type of car or
Yes.
cars?
And I remember the slogan at the time. It was Body by Fisher. And Fisher was the designer. And I believe he mostly designed for GM. And I think it was, let's see, I must have been 9 or 10. And I was always did this crazy thing where I would get so excited, at the time when the new models were coming out. And I grew up in Medford, Massachusetts, which was maybe 5 miles north of Boston. And we probably had 5 car showrooms in Medford. And I actually knew where they hid the new models when they came in prior to them, being released in the showroom. So I used to sneak into these places, and I think I only got asked to leave maybe twice, but I would just anticipate that so much. And I remember going to school one day and being on the school bus, and the bus went right by Davidson Chevrolet, and they had just put the new models in, and it was a 1965 Chevy Impala Super Sport, and the body had completely changed that year. And again, it was Fisher who designed it. And I know this wasn't the color Chevy called it, but it was this brand new color that came out this year. Pontiac called it Iris Mist. And it was like a metallic, almost lilac. And in the showroom was this car I've never seen before, completely restyled, and it was this metallic lilac. And all I thought of that day in school was, I can't wait to get home, get on my bike, and go to Davidson Chevrolet. They're not there anymore. I'd be giving them the biggest plug in the world if they were.
You would have. You definitely would have. Wow. So that feeling that you expressed, I'm going to segue and stretch a bit, but say you experienced that with what you do now.
Oh, totally. When I see like a piece of art that it just kind of rocks my world, it's like the best feeling in the world. And I would say the greatest feeling as an art dealer or a consultant is when you see an artist create something that is so uniquely their style, and that it's something you've never seen before. And that happens, I guess that's probably happened to me twice in my entire career. And that feeling is like nothing else. Or just originality and how it's executed. It's like, when somebody has that really unique vision and really unique talent and combines that and creates something, it's like, it's almost indescribable.
This is outstanding. It's also the Modern Architect, KZSU Stanford 90.1 FM. We're talking today with James Bacchi, a prominent art consultant, curator, and collaborator who has and continues to enjoy, enjoy is an understatement, conducting art business in New York, San Francisco, and Palm Springs since 1986. For more information, feel free to visit jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Again, that's jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Go into it again about the feeling, the energy, what you get, and even what your clients see, and how you feel when they get so excited as well.
Oh, well, that's that's the ultimate. If I feel that way and I see somebody else, picking up on that, it's really, really great. I mean, it's the best.
Yeah, it sounds almost like a cosmic orgasm.
Well, it's like a visual orgasm, if you know.
Sure. Now, imagine, so you're going to work, if you want to call it that, every day, knowing that expectation is highly likely. I mean, how do you describe it? Is it kind of one day gets better than the next? Is there such thing?
I was kind of. It's very funny. I gave up a gallery in San Francisco that I co-owned for years, 25 years, and moved to Palm Springs less than a year ago, kind of knowing what I was going to do here, but not totally. And someone asked me the other day, because all this stuff has happened to me since I've been here. I just got a space at the shops at 1345 North Palm Canyon, which is like the most amazing building here in Palm Springs. It was designed in 1955 by E. Stewart Williams, and it's gone through some incarnations over the years, but these partners bought the building. At one point, it was a water company. It's been an insurance company. It's been a real estate company. But these guys went in there, Brandon Hoskins and his partners, and they, I guess, turned it into this collection of lifestyle shops, ranging from art to furniture to home goods to jewelry, but everything is like exquisite. And I've always gone there when I've visited Palm Springs, and I've gone there since I've moved here. And I would say about, a month and a half ago, I walked in there and there was an empty space in there, and small, like a rectangle, white. All I saw was white walls, track lights, and this shiny black tile floor. And I went crazy. And I just, I thought I didn't want to do this anymore. So that was a big surprise. But what's very, very unique about this series of shops that these guys have created is that they have a sales staff for the whole place. So you don't have to be there. And that's what cinched it for me. So it was like this opportunity, because up until now, and by the way, I just moved into this space yesterday.
Oh, congratulations, so, really.
Thank you. It was just, it was serendipitous. Our townhouse here in Palm Springs is totally designed like a gallery, but, it's not open to the public. I love visibility, and this, the shops is such a destination for both people who live here, people who visit here, and it's not the type of destination for tourists. It's more geared to interior designers and, as I said, lifestyle shoppers. People who love beautiful, original, exquisite things kind of flock to this little, pink building. This beautiful mid-century modernist building is housed with all this amazing merchandise. So that kind of just happened. And the other thing that's been in the works since I got here, I have friends in San Francisco who are amazing. They created and they own Hewn, which is one of the most successful showrooms in the San Francisco Design Center. And that's Jeff Holt and Peter West. And Jeff and Peter bought a house down here a couple of years ago in Cathedral City, which is the next town. It's 10 minutes from Palm Springs. And in Cathedral City is this emerging area called the Perez Art and Design District. So anyone who's into art and design goes there. There's art galleries there. There are artist studios there. There are amazing studios, craftsmen, tile people, stonemasons. So it's all this art and design in this little area. And they're almost like in strip malls. So it makes it even more interesting. You drive into these little malls and there are, maybe anywhere from 10 to 12 stores, studios, whatever. Anyway, when Jeff knew I was moving down here, he called me and he told me what they were doing here. And they are opening a showroom here July 1st in the Perez Art and Design District called Scout. And the tagline to Scout is Art and Home. And Jeff asked me if I would like to propose art for the space, which I have, and all the art got delivered about a week ago, and they're in the process of putting this whole place together. So, I have presence in probably what is and what will be two of the absolute best art and design spaces in Coachella Valley. So that was ended up being wow. And I'm just so grateful. But the thing that's so interesting is people are saying to me, I thought you were going to Palm Springs to kind of slow down a little and, enjoy. I have never had this kind of fun. Everything that I am doing since I've been here has just been nothing but, I could only describe it as big fun. So, how lucky could I be?
Yes. Well, this definitely, there's a youthful exuberance to you, James, that obviously it's coming through our show today. But for our audience who's not having the fortune to at least see you, it seems like you're actually blossoming in the desert. That's kind of a cliche and a little corny, but there really is truth to that.
There is. And I think that's been a major factor, because if I was to describe it, it's just that life is easier here. I probably get up anywhere between 5:30 and 6 every day. I walk out my front door and there's a pool and a hot tub directly across the street. I I do. I'm now up to about 85 laps of resistance walking in the pool every morning. And that's how I start my day. And when I lived in the city, I would get up, I would like sit at my desk for a while, drink coffee. I'm not a super morning person, but that little trip to the pool, when I get back from that, it's like raring to go.
I love
And,
it.
and it's maybe 8 o'clock, if that. So it's great.
Outstanding. This is The Modern Architect. We're talking today with James Bacchi, prominent art consultant, curator, and collaborator who has and continues to enjoy and flourish while conducting art business in New York, San Francisco, and Palm Springs. For more information, feel free to visit jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Again, that's jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Our public service announcement for today is for the Alliance Health Project at UCSF. The Alliance Healthcare Project's mission is to support the mental health and wellness of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer and HIV-affected communities in constructing healthy and meaningful lives. For more information, feel free to visit their website at alliancehealthproject.ucsf.edu. Again, that's alliancehealthproject.ucsf.edu. James, can you share with us stories without, if you want to name names, fine, but of some of your recent art transactions or sharings? Love to hear them.
Interesting. I don't know if I'm comfortable naming names.
No, you don't have to, but we just maybe said the story of it.
Well, this is kind of a fun story. And this will add a little intrigue to it because actually it was one of your guests, recent guests, who has been a longtime client and friend. And what I would love to use this person as an example because we first met when social media came on the scene, and I started a Facebook page for my former gallery with art dealer Annette Schutz. It was called Art House. And I started a Facebook page, and I remember posting this painting one day. And I used to do this thing every day called the Art House Pick of the Day. And each day I'd post a different work of art. So on this particular day, I posted a painting by an artist named Carol Massa, who's out of New York and who is this abstract painter, major colorist. She actually taught graphic design and color theory at FIT for more than 25 years. And I get a message on Facebook from this person saying, "Is this painting available?" And I said, "Yes." And, we start talking on the phone, and she lived in San Francisco, and I offered to bring the painting to her house. It wasn't that big. And went to her house. It was really funny because she had just had a baby like days before. And I got to her house holding the painting, and there's a note on the door saying, "Don't ring the doorbell." So I knocked really apprehensively, and she came to the door, went in, and the baby was down. So that was good. And she loved the painting, bought the painting, has since bought several more, and has collected another artist named Hina Alvarado, who is a San Francisco artist, and her work has a very vintage approach to it. It's oil and encaustic on wood panels, usually figurative, and just has this real vintage retro feel to it. And this particular collector has seen images of this painting that's been around for a little while. And when we recently spoke, she asked me if this painting was still available. And I said yes. And at some point during the conversation, she started talking about her grandmother, who was this wild woman from Mississippi. And during the conversation, she emailed me a photograph of her grandmother when she was younger. And she looked just like, she reminded me of Betty Page, the pinup model from the 50s. And I said to her, I know you love this painting, and this artist, Hina Alvarado, does a lot of commission work. I said, you need to commission a painting of your grandmother. And I mean, the happy ending to this story is not only is she commissioning a painting of her grandmother for herself, but she is commissioning a smaller one for her to give as a gift to her mother, who's the daughter of the grandmother. And she's also purchasing the original painting she asked about. So that was a very happy day for everyone.
Terrific.
Collector, art consultant, and the artist. Happy, happy, happy.
On that happy notes, what would you like to share with your audience today, James, that we may not have touched on?
I guess just how, important it is to have art in your life. For somebody to, I guess, for me, favorite people to work with are beginning collectors, because there are so many aspects to beginning collecting. First and foremost is, introducing people to something that they love. And establishing a relationship where they're comfortable enough to tell you they don't like something. And I always encourage people to do that, because people often don't know what they love, but more often know what they don't like. And, I love when people surprise themselves. Like, I remember back in the early days of Art House, we would have, beginning collectors come in, and, when you would ask them, like, what kind of work do they, like, find themselves gravitating to, a lot of people would say, I don't like abstract art. I mean, we would hear that over and over again. And I think abstract art can scare a lot of people, because I think more often than not, that's the aesthetic that other people will say to them, what is it that you like about that? Or what do you see in that? And then people kind of can get, unsure of how they're going to respond. But I remember, and I still represent her work, Serena Bacchina, who is this amazing abstract artist out of New York. And Serena's work is all jazz inspired. So there's line in her work, and the line is all about the improvisation of the music. So, in fact, Serena is in a major show right now in San Francisco called Rhapsody, and it's at the Museo Italiano Americano in Fort Mason. And it's a great show. But people who would say they don't like abstract work would look at her work, and she, one body of work that she has always done are these beautiful works on vellum paper, and they're oil and graphite. And people would look at these and leave, who'd say, I don't like abstract work, and leave with 3 of them. And that would happen over and over again. So I love when, people can surprise themselves by discovering something they would think they would normally not like and end up really loving. So that I like that. And, that's a situation that I would have to say just really does it for me.
James, it's been a real honor and pleasure having you as a guest today. Truly. Thank you very, very much. I hope you consider coming on again.
Oh, Tom, this has been great. Thank you.
Thank you again, James. You've been listening to The Modern Architect. I'm Tom Dioro. Our guest today has been James Bacchi. James is a prominent art consultant, curator, and collaborator who continues to enjoy conducting art business in New York, San Francisco, Palm Springs, frankly, probably the planet, since 1986. Embracing the changes of how to conduct business brought on by the pandemic, James felt the need to reinvent. Drawing from many facets of his professional career, he launched James Bacchi Contemporary, a boutique art consultancy and by appointment Collectors Art Salon in Palm Springs, California. James Bacchi Contemporary focuses on representing and sourcing contemporary art worldwide for presentation and placement with private collections, corporations, and museums. For more information, feel free to visit jamesbacchicontemporary.com. Again, jamesbacchicontemporary.com.